Hi, in this tutorial we will see how to make use of the JavaFX task to improve the speed and performance of our application. I have created a sample application here. This is without the JavaFX task. So what this app does is it will read a number from the text field, and when the button is clicked, it will calculate a sum of all the numbers below that up to 0. Like if I enter 1000, then it will add from 0, like 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up to 999. For smaller numbers, this application works without problem, but as we increase the limit or the number input to a million or 10 million, then the application becomes unresponsive. So once the value reaches 10 or 20 million, the application becomes completely unresponsive. This is because it is working on the GUI thread that is responsible for showing the window on the screen. So as you know, the screen is like the JavaFX applications are refreshed 60 frames per second. So the GUI thread already has a task of refreshing the whole screen 60 frames in a second. So if we give a complicated or a CPU intensive job to do, then the application will become unresponsive because it is not able to refresh the window. So a solution to this problem is to use JavaFX task. JavaFX by default provides this, and it is meant for this kind of CPU intensive tasks. So here you can see a modified version of the same application with task implemented using JavaFX task. So here, even if I give a 500 million or a billion value, it is easily able to calculate the sum in the background while the GUI is kept responsive. This is because the GUI thread, the actual work, actual summation or the iteration is offloaded into another task or thread which runs in the background, while the GUI thread is totally free to do the GUI work. So without further ado, let's see how this is done. So let's get started. Now let us start our coding. I have already prepared the sample project here. This is the one that of course doesn't use the JavaFX tasks. So when I run this code with a big value, it will freeze, and we will be fixing this program using the JavaFX task so that it can work smoothly. So I will show you a demo again here. Like if I give a value maybe like 1 million, it will take a little bit of time for the processing to complete. But for the value 1 million in my processor, since it is like a latest processor, it is not freezing. But if I increase the value like a 10 million, then you can see here that like the program is like completely getting unresponsive. If I give 20 million and try to move the program, it is getting completely frozen and not responding, like the task is not responding. So that is because it is taking a long time to count from 0 to 20 million, and we need to offload that into a background task so that the application will work properly. So don't worry, we will be using the JavaFX task here to fix this problem. Okay, I will just walk you through the project. This is just a simple project I have created through the IntelliJ, and there is nothing much happening. Like I have designed this view, loaded that view from the hello application class, and within the controller there is only one major function that is for calculating the sum. So we will read what is given in the text field here, and we will make it a long value. Then from 0 to that value minus 1, like if 1000 is entered, we will iterate from 0 to 999. Then we will add all those values. So that is what is happening here. So we will be converting this into a JavaFX task, and we will make the program much more interactive. Okay, the first step that we need to do is to create a new class, and we will extend that class with a JavaFX task class. So let us do that. For the new class, let me name it as counter, maybe counter task. So we'll just name it as a counter task, and here this is where we need to concentrate. So here we need to extend this counter class with a task class. So here you can see that the task class is from javafx.concurrent package, so we will just do that. And here it takes a generic parameter. So the generic parameter here we need to give is like what is the output we are expecting from the task. So in this task we are adding multiple numbers and making a result, a sum value. So we will just give here as long. So in the future, if you when you are using this, if you need to return something else from the task, then you can give that class here. So in our case it is just a long value, so we will give that as a long value. Then we need to implement one interface, so that is why this error is here. So in IntelliJ, if you press on Alt Enter, then it will show how to fix the error, and here you can see that we need to implement the method called call function. So here in the call function we need to do like here we need to make use of the, here we need to implement the calculation. So it will be running in the background and the GUI will be responsive. Okay, so the first thing that we need in this counter task for counting is obviously the limit, like up to where we need to do the counting. So we will just specify that here, private final long, and the value will be like limit. I will just call it limit. So if 1 million is entered, then this limit will become 1 million. I will create a constructor, alt insert and constructor, and we will receive that limit here. Then here we need to do all the heavy work. So this is where the background working happens. So I will just create a for loop. So for I equals 0, while I less than the limit, we need to do the calculation. So if 1 million is entered, we need from 0 to 999,900, like that. Okay, so we need to do the calculation here, and we need a variable here for calculating the sum. Just like, I'm just taking the logic from here, like this is what I'm doing. So I will take the sum, so long sum equals 0. Then inside here we need to do the calculation. So sum equal to sum plus I, so it will count like that. Now at the end we need to return the sum, right? Like all the background calculation is done, and at the end we need to return the sum. So we can say like return the sum. So this is the basic structure of the counter task. So it is very simple. Whatever you want to like offload from the GUI thread, or whatever you want to run in the background, you simply put it in the call function. Now what we need to do is to go back here, hello controller, and this calculate function we no longer need. We need to write a new calculate function, and from there we will invoke the counter task. Like we need to invoke the counter class. So I will write a new function, calculate counter, or invoke counter task. So from this function, so this function will be called when the button is pressed. So where is the application running? Yeah, here. So when the start counter button is clicked, this function will be invoked. So from there we will do the programming here. So of course we need the input. So we will just read the input to a long value from the text field. Then we need to invoke the counter task. So let me show you how to create it. So for creating a task that runs in the background, first need to create an object of the task. So we will create the counter task, and here we have said that we need to pass the limit, like up the limit to which the counting should or summation should happen. So here I will just give the input. Then in order to start the task, you need to connect it to a thread. So if you look into the documentation of the task, here you can see that it is from JavaFX Concurrent.Task, and in order to start the task you need to make use of a thread, multi-thread, so normal Java thread. So we need to do that here as well. So I will just copy the code from there and paste it here, thread th equal new thread, and here we need to pass the task as the parameter. So we will give that here, and that's it guys. That will run this counter task in the background. But now the problem is like we haven't like used the return value, or we haven't used any functions of this task to the label display field, because we need to show the progress, or we need to show the counting, right? So there are multiple ways to do this. So I will show you an easy way. So in the counter task, there are multiple functions that we can use. So if you look into the update like function starting with update word, you can see that there are multiple functionalities available in the counter class, and these are from the task and worker interfaces. So if you look into the worker interface, you can see that there will be like update message. Sorry, it is in the task class, task class. So update message. So we can like give an update through the update message function. So here what we can do is like we can give a value from this counter class to the outside. So here we will use the update value function and give the sum here. So in every step, this background task will publish or give a value to the class that started it. So here when we are counting, it will start from 0. So initially it will be 0, then 0 plus 1 1, then 1 plus 2 3, then like that it will update. So you will see that in a moment. So we are just calling the function update value. Then here in the controller class, we need to bind that value into the label, the display label we have, like this display label we need to. So that is what we are going to do right now. So for that you need to do it like this: counter task value property. So this value property will be changing as the loop progressing. So we just want to, whenever this value is updated, we need to update into that label. So we will add a listener here. So new change listener, and from here we will show that value in the label. So we have a label display. So here label display dot set text, and here string dot value of new value. So every time the loop iterates, the label display will be updated. Now let us go ahead and run our program and see what we have done so far is working. So here is our hello, and last time the problem happened with mostly 20 million, right? So let us give 20 million value start counter, and here you can see that it completed very fast. Also it showed the intermediate steps. So I will increase the complexity here. I will make it to a 50 million, and you can see that it is counting properly, and it is actually very responsive. So I will increase the complexity and make it into 500 million, and here you can see that it is still responsive while the counting is happening. So you can see that the counting is happening while it is happening, it is still responsive, and finally it showed the result. So here it counted up to 500 million, and it still did that without like being unresponsive or anything, because the actual processing is happening in the background, and we are publishing the result like after, or publishing the value or publishing the progress through the value property. Now let us learn a bit more about the functionalities that this task class provide. So update value is just one thing. So if you look into other things, there is like update progress, update title, etc. options. So next let us try this update progress and bind it into a progress bar, because let's say some tasks take a long time. So when you are developing a real world application, there will be tasks that takes considerable amount of time, and users usually expect a feedback, like they would like to see like how much it is already done. So in that case, this update progress is very useful. So what we are going to do next is to go into the fxml file. Then here we have the scene builder. I will just add one progress bar. So in the controls, I should be able to see a progress bar here, and I will simply add it in the bottom. So I have a progress bar added. Then in the layout, I need to widen it so that it will fit the fit the dialog. So I will use the value here, preferred width. I will set the maximum width to maximum value, and it will fit properly. And also I want to increase the width of this whole dialog, because last time when we counted 500 million, it was not able to show the whole number there. So I will make it to maybe a 600 is a lot. Sorry, 500. Okay, now we have the progress bar. We need to give an ID for the progress bar, so I will just give progress bar. Then we go into the fxml here. Then we need to reference it from the program, and we have the progress bar here. Now what we need to do is to bind the progress property of the counter task progress property with the progress bar. So we have the progress bar, then progress property, then we simply bind its progress property into the counter task, I mean the task progress property. So whenever we publish a progress for the counter task, the progress bar will automatically display it. So that's it. So here we have binded the progress bar. Now we need to update our counter task that at every step it will update or publish its progress. So the progress means if I am counting from 0 to 100, at 0 it is at each step we need to give a progress, right? If I have reached 10, then it is like a 10% is reached. If I reach 20, then it is like a 20% reached, like that. So there is a very easy option already given in the task, so in the task class by JavaFX. So if you go into the update progress option, you can see that you can specify how much work is done and what is the maximum amount of work that is there in the task. So in our case, this makes it very simple, because the work done is the loop's current index, because if we have reached 10, then okay, we have reached 10 and the remaining is the limit. So here we can give I and limit. So that will calculate the progress percentage, and that will publish the progress, and that progress will be shown in the progress bar through this binding. So let us run our code again. I am restarting the program, and here if I press 500 million, if I type 500 million and click on start counter option, you can see that we are getting the progress here properly. So you can see here that like it is going on counting, and let's see, let us wait until it completes, and by the time progress bar completes, the label will stop, and that's it. So here you can see that it is successfully working, and it is also responsive, because initially it was not at all responding, right? Currently it is doing this heavy task. It is counting millions of it is doing millions of operations per second, but still it is responsive. So that is a very good achievement here. So let us wait for this to complete. Yes, so that is complete. We need to learn one more thing regarding tasks in this chapter, that is canceling a running task. I will show you a scenario here. We have a problem, like if I enter 500 million here and click on the start counter button, it will start the counting, but before it finishes, if I click on the start counter button again, then here you can see that the numbers are getting all messed up, like it is switching to the second counter and also the first counter, like that, because when this button is pressed, we are creating a new counter task and creating a new thread. We are not canceling the previous counter task, and that is causing the issue here. So we need to learn how to cancel a running task so that it won't mess up when another one is running in parallel. So the thing, I mean, it is also a very simple thing to do. The first thing we need to do is to currently this is a local variable, so we need to convert it into a global variable so that we can have control of the previous task that was created. So I will just move it like this, like private counter task, and here instead of creating a local one, we will create a new one. And here we have an option like if I am pressing this counter task for the first time, then this counter task will be null, so we don't have to do anything. There is nothing to cancel. But if there was a counter task already running previously, then we can check if counter task not equal to null and counter task is running. There is a function that is available in the JavaFX task called is running, and if that is true, that means there was a previous counter task and it is still running. So in that case, we need to cancel the previous counter task, right? So that we can do through counter task dot cancel. And here that's it, counter task dot cancel, and it will send a notification. We will see that just in a second. So if we call cancel here, then in the counter task there is a function called is cancel. So here is cancel will return true as soon as we set the counter task dot cancel, as soon as we call the counter task.cancel function. So what we need to do is, as soon as the cancel function is invoked, we need to break this loop and no more do the counting. I mean, we need to stop the counting. So that we can do it like this, like if is cancelled, then simply break the loop. So the loop will not continue and it will be stopped. So we will call the cancel, and as soon as we call the cancel function, is cancel become true, then this loop will be broken. So let us try this again. I will run this program, and here I will enter 500 million again, and then click on the start counter, and look at this. Like if I press on the start counter again, you can see that the previous issue is solved. Like previously it was switching to the it was switching between two counter task, background task. So now it is solved. That is through the cancellation option. So this is how you properly cancel a running counter task or cancel a running task in JavaFX. So that's it, guys. I hope you like this video. I will see you on the next one. Bye.